I accidentally slept with my childhood sweetheart, just as I was about to put on my clothes and deny everything, he warned with his eyes closed. If you dare not take responsibility, I'll report you to the authorities. I was dumbfounded. You're the crown prince. What authorities would you even report to? Report it to your father, that high-ranking official. Hello, everyone, welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. Wine leads men astray, but male beauty leads them even further astray. I regret it so much my guts have turned white. Last night, I just wanted to hear how he was troubled by the marriage, not to have that trouble transferred onto me. Damn crown prince, confess honestly, did you drug my wine? I grabbed Xiao Hongyu, who was already dressed in his splendid robes, highly suspicious that I, who had never been interested in men, would make a move on him. Xiao Hongyu shook off my hand, looking deeply distressed. I didn't. Don't you know you're as strong as an ox? I tried to leave, but you wouldn't let me. Last night, you've made me suffer so much, I don't even want to talk about it. By the end of his words, he turned away, lowering his head as his shoulders trembled. Stop talking, I'll take responsibility for you. Unable to bear the thought of tarnishing his pristine reputation because of me, I patted his shoulder with a sense of righteousness and made my promise. As soon as I get home, I'll have my father request your father's permission for our marriage. I'll be your crown princess. Xiao Hongyu blinked pitifully and asked, really? I closed my eyes, enduring the discomfort in my body. Cui Yang, never lie. Good. Then I'll await your good news in the palace. He tossed out the words and left in a hurry. Watching his anxious retreating figure, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I scratched my head in confusion. He doesn't seem that upset after all. For the first time, I stayed out all night and flew back to the courtyard in fear. Young mistress, you're finally back. Zealand sat up from the bed, wearing my dress. If you don't come back now, you'll miss the morning greetings. She hurriedly got up to help me change clothes. Nothing happened last night, right? Although I'd often let her pretend to be me and sneak out to play after bedtime, last night's incident was sudden, and I was worried it might be exposed. Nothing happened. Hurry, miss, go greet the master and mistress for breakfast. Zealand pushed me out the door, and I told her to go back to her room and rest. Upon arriving at my parents' courtyard, the meal was already set. I'm late, mother and father, you've come just in time. Younger, sit down quickly. Mother gestured for me to take a seat, and I obediently sat down to eat. On my third glance towards my father, he said with a stern face, speak. Ahem. Truly a father's child. I heard the court is discussing candidates for the crown princess. Father, I want to be her. As soon as I spoke, both of my parents looked shocked. Father quickly composed himself, regaining his composure faster than mother. Your reason, I said earnestly. A grown daughter should marry. I'm almost 18. Who I marry doesn't matter. Mother, finally catching up, said, child, it's rare for you to have such awareness. But didn't you always detest complicated and tedious lives? Marrying into the Eastern Palace is no small matter. Madam, be cautious with your words. I was on the verge of tears. But there was no way I could explain my predicament to my bewildered parents. How could I possibly tell them that I had slept with the crown prince? Father, mother, my mind is made up. Please make arrangements for me as soon as possible. Cui Yang. Are you certain you won't regret this? My father asked me solemnly. I shook my head firmly, saying without regret, then you should restrain yourself for now. Wait until I speak with His Majesty before giving you an answer. Hearing father say this, I knew it was as good as settled. I bowed to him somewhat sheepishly, then many thanks. Father, he gave me a glare and said, get lost. Mother scolded him with a glance, and I promptly scurried back to my own courtyard. True to my father's nature, after dinner, he announced the wedding date had been set. Only 2 months left. How did they pick such a rushed date? Mother couldn't believe that his trip to the palace not only secured the marriage approval but also smoothly calculated the auspicious date. I also find it utterly unbelievable. Father's face darkened. His voice gritted with barely suppressed anger. A perfect match. Whether sooner or later makes no difference. I hunched my shoulders and didn't dare utter a word. you are not to see the crown prince again during this period. Before I could retreat, father sternly warned me, and I hastily agreed. Little did I know, on the third night after the wedding news spread, Xiao Hongyu jumped in through the window. Are you insane? I covered his mouth and dragged him onto my bed. He blinked, his eyes full of innocence. You never go out, so this was the only way I could see you. I punched him in the chest, breaking into a lady's chamber at night. Are you trying to get me killed? Don't worry, I won't let you die. I pushed away his intense gaze and asked why he had come. Of course, I came for you. I never thought you'd actually keep your word, Yang. His whining voice gave me goosebumps. Xiao Hongyu, if you have something to say, just say it directly, don't be like this. When he spoke in a hushed tone, his gentleness was utterly captivating. Don't you know how much I'll overthink it? All right, Cui Yang, for the sake of growing up together, you must reject the proposals from the Zhao and Wang families. What proposal? Xiao Hongyu looked troubled. They insist on having the legitimate daughters from both families enter the Eastern Palace as my concubines on the same day as you. Isn't this a slap in your face? Even my objections were overruled. Xiao Hongyu, seeing how furious I was, smiled with an innocent, harmless expression. I didn't want to either. It's up to you, Yang. I was furious. Zhao Qian and Wang Jingfei, right, I'm not even married yet. And they're already trying to compete with me. Don't worry, I won't let them have their way. But are you really indifferent to them? I eyed him suspiciously. He shook his head. My mind isn't on that. Then where is your mind? I was very curious. He's already 19, and I've never seen him entangled with any woman. Could it be a man? I was startled by my own thought and stared at him even more nervously. The more you know, the sooner you die, Xiao Hongyu said with an enigmatic expression. I quickly made it clear that I didn't really want to know that much. The next day, I shamelessly pestered my father to resolve the disputes between the Zhao and Wang families. Father, surely you don't want me to be humiliated by others before I'm even married. You, humiliated? Don't cause trouble for me. His Majesty will decide this matter. Understood, Father. I'll take my leave now. I had just returned to the courtyard when my father's personal guard came to report that the Zhao and Wang families had withdrawn their petitions. I then settled down at home to await my wedding. The dowry had long been prepared, but the wedding dress had to be embroidered by me, and even just stitching a pair of lotus flowers nearly took half my life. Xiao Hongyu kept sneaking into my chamber at night. He entered just as I was scratching my head in frustration over the wedding dress. He sighed and held my hand that was holding the needle. Cui Yang, how come you don't know any needlework at all? He said, standing behind me. His large, warm hand held mine as he guided me through embroidery, creating an inexplicably ambiguous atmosphere. I stiffened my neck and stubbornly retorted, I know a little. 3 days ago, this flower looked like this. And it still does now, he mercilessly pointed out. He took my hand and stitched it needle by needle, and I asked him in return how he knew women's needlework. A crown prince must be skilled in everything. Then being a crown prince is truly exhausting. My mouth was quicker than my mind, and the words slipped out before I could think. I feel sorry for the future ruler. His brain must be full of holes. So, Cui Yang, are you willing to become the crown princess? Xiao Hongyu asked cautiously. Without hesitation, I replied, being the crown princess sounds quite impressive. I'm willing. Xiao Hongyu released his grip and turned my body toward him. Cui Yang, are you also willing to marry me and become my wife? He looked serious, but I thought his question was quite unnecessary. Xiao Hongyu, I'm willing. A woman of her word keeps her promises, and besides, marrying someone as unparalleled as him is no loss for me. Xiao Hongyu smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. I'll take the wedding dress back to embroider it properly. You just muddle through for now. Wow, Xiao Hongyu, you're really the best. Take it away quickly. God knows how much this wedding dress has been giving me a headache. Marrying him seems like it might actually be quite nice. On the day of the grand wedding, the sky was clear and boundless. He didn't need to personally escort me into the palace, yet he came dressed in bright red wedding attire. When he took me from his cousin's back, His voice trembled. Yang Yang, don't look back, all right. I didn't see his face, but I noticed his hands shaking as he helped me into the bridal sedan. Xiao Hongyu, why are you trembling? I whispered. To which he softly replied, it's hot. I was somewhat speechless. We entered the palace smoothly, and by the time the elaborate ceremonies were completed, the night had grown deep, when I was drowsy with hunger. The sound of someone paying respects to the crown prince came from outside the door, and I immediately sat up straight. After dismissing the palace attendants, Xiao Hongyu lifted my bridal veil, and both of us were instantly filled with delight in our eyes. Cui Yang, you look exceptionally beautiful today. I wasn't about to be so polite with him, so I boldly grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the table. Xiao Hongyu, you look absolutely dashing in wedding attire. I'd love to see it again next time. He. I poured myself some wine and drank it down, while his handsome face paled slightly at my words. Do you think there will be a next time? He grabbed my hand and we drank the ceremonial wedding wine together. Can't you wear it again when you take a concubine? I put on an expression that said I understood everything, and he fell silent. I ignored him and helped myself to the wine and snacks on the table. Though it was a pity there were no proper dishes, it's a joyous occasion. Don't pull such a long face. After several cups of wine, I noticed him sitting motionless by my side, looking thoroughly displeased. You know it's a joyous occasion, why bring her up? His face turned frighteningly cold when he was displeased. I simply found him baffling. After finishing the wine in the jug, I called for someone to help me wash up. When I returned to the bedchamber, Xiao Hongyu was already sitting by the bed in red sleepwear, waiting. Aren't you going to sleep? What are you waiting for? The wine had gone to my head, making me slow to realize. What do you think, Yang Yang? I smacked my forehead and quickly pulled out the little booklet my mother had given me when I left home. It's not the first time, yet you're still waiting for me to look. I wrapped my arm around his shoulder and flipped open the booklet, letting out a yelp before hiding under the bright red wedding quilt amidst his mischievous grin. How could anyone do such things while fully conscious? Blushing furiously, I peeked out from under the covers and said, Xiao Hongyu, let's just go to bed. His bright eyes dimmed, and with a murmured all right, he lay down beside me. The night passed without incident. Early the next morning, I got up to accompany him in paying respects to the Emperor and Empress. I didn't know how he explained things to the palace matrons, but since they knew we hadn't consummated the marriage, the Empress didn't give me a hard time. After receiving a round of gifts, I felt even more that marrying Xiao Hongyu was truly wonderful. Are you really that happy, Crown Princess? Xiao Hongyu led me back to the Eastern Palace, and I was brimming with excitement the entire way. All those rare treasures are mine. Of course I'm happy, Your Highness. This prince believes none of those are rare treasures, because there were outsiders present. He began referring to himself formally, tilting my head with a smile. I asked him, then what does Your Highness consider to be a rare treasure? Xiao Hongyu tapped my nose and smiled without speaking. As I pestered him with endless questions, a long unheard voice suddenly reached us. Greetings to His Highness the Crown Prince and the Crown Princess. I froze for a moment, then quickly pulled my hand away from Xiao Hongyu's grasp. Xiao Hongyu's voice was chillingly cold. General Gu, there's no need for formalities. I lowered my head, not daring to look at them, the bitterness in my chest nearly overflowing. Why did he return the very day after my wedding? I could feel Gu Yan's gaze fixed on me, yet I didn't have the slightest courage to meet his eyes. May I, your servant, have a few words alone with the Crown Princess, against propriety? Xiao Hongyu coldly refused. I reached out to hold his hand and whispered, let's return to the palace, Your Highness. Xiao Hongyu allowed me to lead him away, with no one paying further attention to Gu Yan behind us. You still care for him, back in the palace. After everyone had withdrawn, Xiao Hongyu stated firmly, what a pity you've already married me, Yang Yang. You're destined to have no connection with the young general. Seeing my silence, Xiao Hongyu added another sentence, which made me so annoyed that I hit him. Xiao Hongyu, shut up. Xiao Hongyu did shut up, and for 7 days at that. For those 7 days, he stayed in his study and didn't come to my room at all, causing rumors to spread wildly in the palace. Crown Princess, please go and comfort His Highness. Zaylon, seeing the situation clearly, patiently explained that he was just jealous. After all, everyone knew Gu Yen was my former sweetheart. If not for the sudden changes in his family, and his resolute decision to leave me behind and head to the borderlands, I might have already married him. I felt a bit too proud to lower myself, thinking it would be embarrassing to explain something that was never an issue. Let me think about it, I muttered, lying down to ponder how to argue my way out with Xiao Hongyu when a palace maid rushed in to report that Xiao Hongyu and Gu Yen had started fighting in the study. That would be disastrous. Wouldn't Gu Yen, the martial arts expert, beat Xiao Hongyu to death? I dashed like an arrow, rushed to the study, pushed the door open, and shouted, "Hongyu!" To my surprise, they were sitting there peacefully drinking tea. My face turned crimson. Damn, that palace maid dared to play me. With no outsiders in the room, Gu Yen didn't stand on ceremony and stared straight at me. I couldn't decide whether to leave or stay. Xiao Hongyu, in high spirits, beckoned to me. "Yang Yang, come here." I walked over clumsily and sat down beside him. The air was quiet. After a brief moment of thought, Gu Yen took out a small box and placed it beside me. "Yang Yang, Happy New Year," he said before getting up and leaving, not giving me a chance to even say thank you. "He's already gone, and you're still staring." Xiao Hongyu tapped my head, his words dripping with jealousy. "Xiao Hongyu, are you jealous?" Xiao Hongyu turned away and denied it. I didn't press him on whether he was telling the truth. Eagerly opening the box instead, inside was the wooden hairpin I had once mentioned to Gu Yen. Back then, it was fashionable in the city for men to carve floral hairpins from peach wood and give them to women. Even before we had confessed our feelings to each other, I had playfully insisted that I wanted him to carve one for me. He readily agreed, but before he could finish the hairpin to his satisfaction, he had already left for the frontier to rescue his father. Just a common trinket, Xiao Hongyu said disdainfully, and I glared at him without speaking. "Yang Yang, I'm so happy that you called out my name when you came in. What's there to be happy about?" I closed the hairpin box, puzzled by his beaming face. "We were betting on who you'd worry about and call out for. The one you called would win." "I won. How childish." "Xiao Hongyu has moved back in with me again, though he's very busy. Often I'm already asleep by the time he quietly slips into bed. Occasionally when I'm not fully asleep, I can clearly sense him watching me before he kisses my forehead and finally settles down to sleep. He has always been kind to me, never allowing the palace staff to disturb me. My mind is in turmoil. I can't shake the feeling that he has ulterior motives toward me, yet we grew up together since childhood, and I can't tell if his affection for me is genuine or just habit. After all, I once suspected he might be attracted to men. Though we've shared a bed for over a month since marriage, we've never consummated the union. Day and night, a cold-faced personal guard followed him by his side, a lifelong loyal warrior, highly skilled in martial arts and strikingly handsome. While I was utterly perplexed, I heard Zealand mention that Xiao Hongyu had some free time today and was feeding fish in the garden. Having nothing better to do, I thought of going to find him for some fun, but as I quietly approached, I overheard their conversation and immediately shrank back, hiding in a corner beneath the corridor. I didn't dare get too close, afraid his personal guard might notice. Since Gu Yen has returned, I dare not let her know the truth even more. "Xiao Qi, tell me how I should confess." Xiao Hongyu scattered all the fish food into the lake. His personal guard, Xiao Qi, pondered briefly before speaking. "Your Highness, perhaps it's best to keep it hidden forever. The Crown Princess will surely never discover that nothing happened between you two that night." I pricked up my ears, and what I heard made my blood boil. "But she will eventually find out that it was I who schemed relentlessly to marry her." After Xiao Hongyu finished speaking, I could no longer hold back and lunged forward, but Xiao Qi intercepted my attack aimed at him. "Xiao Qi, step back." At his command, Xiao Qi retreated, and I immediately struck him with a palm strike. "Xiao Hongyu, how dare you deceive me?" Clutching his chest, he put on a pitiful act, whining to me, Yang Yang, you hit me so hard. I didn't mean to deceive you. You were the one who misunderstood and slept with me. I recall that day, filled only with regret and panic, never carefully considering whether anything truly happened between us. So you want me to take responsibility? I was truly angry at my own foolishness and at his wickedness. You were drunk and wouldn't let me leave. Although nothing happened, we did sleep in the same bed. Xiao Hongyu put on an innocent look, making me seem like the heartless one. But you can't trick me into marrying you. I asked you, and you said you were willing to marry me, Cui Yang. Don't even think about going back on your word. Xiao Hongyu grew anxious, whether out of anger or embarrassment, I couldn't tell, but he simply picked me up and threw me into the lake. Xiao Hongyu, you shameless scoundrel. I fled the palace. Too afraid to go home, fearing my father would beat me to death, I changed into casual clothes and wandered the streets, looking up to see Zhao Qian and Wang Jingfei sitting by the window sipping tea. Bored out of my mind, I booked a room next to theirs. How dare that wretched girl Cui Yang refuse us entry? Zhao Qian's voice wasn't loud, but I heard it clearly. Wang Jingfei, being the daughter of a civil official, was far more composed than military families. Zhao Qian. I only heard her gentle reply, it was His Majesty's order, nothing to do with the Cui family. Everyone knows her father and His Majesty are as close as sharing the same pair of pants. Zhao Qian was quite indignant, while Wang Jingfei sighed helplessly. Qianxian, be cautious with your words and actions. There will be other opportunities in the future. What opportunities? The Crown Prince won't allow it either. Once the news of our rejection gets out, where else can we turn? Jingfei sister, you must think of a way. Zhao Qian was simple-minded, and I couldn't help but laugh at how frantic she sounded. I heard Gu Yan is back. He must be able to handle it. Just wait a little longer. As soon as Wang Jingfei finished speaking, Zhao Qian burst into a cold laugh. That promiscuous woman Cui Yang, wanting everything at once. Why doesn't she just drop dead? While Zhao Qian was still cursing, I kicked open the door to their chamber. Your grandma is right here. Dare to insult me to my face. Both of them turned pale with fright, furious. I rushed over and slapped Zhao Qian twice across the face. Cui Yang, how dare you hit me? I'll fight you to the death. Zhao Qian covered her face and tried to attack me. But as a trained martial artist, how could this sheltered young lady possibly land a hit on me? I flipped over and jumped off the building, sticking my tongue out at her. Enraged, she hurled a teacup down at me. I dodged left and right when Gu Yan grabbed hold of me. Yang Yang, it's really you. What are you doing here? Ignoring the delight in his eyes, I pulled him along and ran. Don't get hurt by that crazy woman. Only when we reached the riverbank we often visited as children did I finally let go of him. Yang Yang, what happened? Why are you alone on the street? Gu Yan and I sat under the bridge. He kept looking at me while I watched the ducks playing in the river. I pouted. I had a fight with Xiao Hongyu. Gu Yan paused, then cautiously probed. Do you have feelings for him? I took out the peachwood hairpin and turned to him. That's not for you to ask. Take the hairpin back. Gu Yan didn't take it. His eyes red as he asked, Yang Yang, are you still blaming me? But you know I had no choice. I'm the only one left in the Gu family. I couldn't not go save my father. I placed the hairpin between us. I stopped blaming you long ago, Gu Yan. From the moment you chose to abandon me on Qixi Festival, when I still couldn't let go and chased after you to ask if you'd take me with you. Your refusal was when I finally let you go. Without a name or status, how could I dare take you with me? Gu Yan explained hoarsely. I shook my head and said, didn't you think that if I dared to follow you, I wouldn't be afraid? But I was afraid. Gu Yan cleared his throat and continued, Yang Yang, I was afraid you'd regret it. Afraid I wouldn't be able to protect you properly at the frontier. I chuckled softly, feeling as though he had never truly understood me. Gu Yan, in the past, I admired you perhaps because of your outstanding martial skills. But now I feel you don't understand me at all. If it were Xiao Hongyu, he wouldn't hesitate because of me. He would simply let me do what I want. Gu Yan couldn't help but embrace me, thinking I was just speaking in anger. Yang Yang, you can't deny your feelings for me. I can't bear it. I rushed back without stopping when I heard the news of your wedding, Yang Yang. I regret it now. I pushed him away. Gu Yen, you're only making me regret ever having loved you. He lowered his eyes, his voice trembling. Is it because you've fallen for the crown prince? Before I could answer, the sound of galloping horses approached from the distance. We turned around to see Xiao Hongyu sitting tall on a fine horse, with Zhao Qian and Wang Jingfei's carriage beside him. Gazing at each other from afar, we stood in silent understanding. They were the first to turn and leave. I couldn't discern the expression on Xiao Hongyu's face, but Zhao Qian's smugly raised chin struck me as particularly distasteful. Gu Yan watched the departing crowd and asked me earnestly, Yang Yang, this time I'm taking you away. Will you come with me? Belated affection is the least valuable. I stood up and dusted off my pants. Instead of being a proper crown princess, I must be crazy to follow you. Gu Yan returned to the borderlands, while I slunk back to the palace. It's been 3 days, and I haven't seen Xiao Hongyu once. He's been deliberately avoiding me, Zealand sighed as she watched me grow so anxious that blisters formed at the corners of my mouth. Should I ask Xiao Qi what His Highness has been up to? I eyed her suspiciously and leaned in closer. Even I can't find them. How could you possibly locate Xiao Qi? Zealand hurriedly explained. Usually Xiao Qi comes to ask what you're doing on behalf of His Highness. Over time, I've gotten somewhat familiar with him and always find a way to locate him. If you don't want to know, I won't ask anymore. Go ask. I had suspected something was off between them. Turns out it was me who was off. Xiao Qi and Zealand are genuinely getting along well. Before long, Zealand returned with a face full of worry. His Highness is admiring flowers with noble ladies in the imperial garden. It's said he's selecting a concubine. My grip on the teacup tightened, shattering it in my hand. Your Highness, don't hurt yourself. Zealand grabbed my bleeding hand. Frantic with worry, summon the imperial physician. I sat there numbly, letting Zealand call the imperial physician to bandage my wound. After the physician left, Zealand shed tears. Why cry? It was just a momentary slip, nothing serious. Zealand sobbed and said, the physician came to the Eastern Palace, so His Highness must know, yet he didn't come to see you. My heart ached, but I stubbornly retorted, I don't care if he comes or not, miss, don't speak in anger. You shouldn't have thrown the crown prince into the lake and then gone to meet General Gu in secret. Zealand hadn't called me miss since my marriage, but now she reverted to it while trying to persuade me. I didn't know why I was so upset with myself. Frustrated, I slammed my fist on the table, causing the freshly bandaged wound to bleed again. Zealand started weeping again, and for the first time, I sternly scolded her to leave. My chest felt so tight that I buried myself under the covers to sleep, only to dream of Xiao Hongyu holding Zhao Qian, all lovey-dovey. I cried angrily, you, don't be nice to her. For some reason, I felt like Xiao Hongyu was holding my hand, which made me even angrier. I grabbed it and bit down hard, finally able to sleep soundly after that. The next day I developed a high fever, lying in bed drifting in and out of sleep, my head splitting with pain and my throat burning. The young palace maids were whispering inside the hall, the crown princess is ill, yet His Highness still went to the banquet. It seems the concubine will be entering the household soon. Another one hushed her in a low voice, disturbing the crown princess's rest. Do you have a death wish? Shut your mouth, Xiao Hongyu. I must see who has captivated you. I sprang up abruptly, startling the 2 palace maids into pallor. I swiftly donned my outer robe and rushed straight to the flower banquet. The garden was teeming with gorgeously adorned noblewomen, among whom Xiao Hongyu stood tall and jade-like, dazzlingly conspicuous. As I arrived, everyone knelt in greeting. I stared fixedly at Xiao Hongyu, who was reading a poem written by Wang Jingfei without even lifting his head. Zhao Qian, lacking tact and oblivious to the tense atmosphere, perhaps noticing my sickly appearance, stood up on her own and sneered. The crown princess still finds such refined pleasures even while ill. She knew full well that I was utterly ignorant of poetry and song, yet she deliberately provoked me. Without a word, I grabbed her and threw her into the peony bushes. Amidst the gasps, I suppressed my anger and snapped, did I permit you to rise? Zhao Qian's eyes reddened, knowing she was in the wrong, and turned to Xiao Hongyu for help. Your Highness, Xiao Hongyu closed his poetry book and reached out to her. I noticed the clear bite marks on the back of his hand. Zhao Qian beamed with joy as she reached for his hand, but feeling a surge of jealousy, I grabbed Xiao Hongyu and ran. Crown Princess, the crowd gasped in shock, but Xiao Hongyu didn't resist, letting me drag him along as we fled. I ran until I was out of breath, and when I finally stopped, no one was following us anymore. I pressed Xiao Hongyu against the pillar in front of the empty hall, my voice hoarse. Did you do this on purpose? So what if I did? Why, you're about to elope, and you still ask why? My head ached, and I pinched his waist. Xiao Hongyu, don't provoke me. The Crown Princess jokes. I have no time to provoke you. I'm busy enriching the rear courtyard. I find that the Wang family's daughter isn't without merit, and the Han family's youngest with her pipa. His mouth kept running, and in a fit of anger, I stood on tiptoe and kissed him. That day I took the initiative, but in the end, he turned the tables and held me tightly in a passionate embrace. The result was me fainting. While he fell ill from my contagion, I was copying the virtues of women as punishment, while he lay in bed, putting on an affected act. Xiao Qi, I'm in so much pain. Summon the imperial physician. Xiao Qi, I'm so cold, and the instigator remains unmoved. Xiao Qi would never enter our chamber. He was calling out just for me to hear. I simply summoned Zelin and handed her the 4 characters I had painstakingly copied for half a day. Tell Her Majesty the Empress that the Crown Prince insists I take care of him, so I can't continue copying these. Once Zelin left, I lay back on the bed, holding Xiao Hongyu as I drifted into a drowsy sleep. He laughed in exasperation. Cui Yang, use me and then toss me aside. Weren't you supposed to take care of me? I nestled into his scorching embrace. Stop arguing, AU. His body stiffened, and he fell silent, only growing hotter by the minute. I've already recovered, and you're still not well. How weak, Xiao Hongyu. I repeatedly pushed away his burning body, utterly disgusted. The movement was too big, exposing my shoulder. His breathing grew heavy, and thinking his condition had worsened, I quickly sat up. Summon. The words imperial physician were stifled in my mouth as he, flushed, plundered my lips. Xiao, Yu. For the past 18 years, I never knew he had such a domineering side, until I was out of breath and he finally let me go. Yang, don't provoke me. A mischievous impulse surged within me, and I flipped over to straddle him, leaning down to whisper in his ear, Brother Yu. His eyes were filled with desire, trembling as he called my name. Yang. Under the bright daylight, it wouldn't do to go too far. I swiftly stood up. Cui Yang. He propped himself up, clearly angry. Your Highness, the Crown Prince wouldn't want to indulge in lust in broad daylight, would you? See you tonight with that. I ran off without looking back. I like Xiao Hongyu. I want to monopolize him, but first I have to eliminate all future possibilities. Sure enough, I waited outside the imperial study and saw my father in his purple robe. As soon as he saw me, he detoured, and I followed him. Minister Cui, how nice to see you. Crown Princess, I am not well. I reached out and grabbed him. Father, I was wrong. I publicly humiliated Zhao Qian, dragged Xiao Hongyu away, and behaved outrageously, drawing fierce criticism from the court. Today, Father must have been summoned by the Emperor for a symbolic reprimand. Father brushed my hand away and patted his sleeve. I was wrong. I shouldn't have let you fool around since childhood. I grinned and playfully patted his official robe. Father, I want to follow the Crown Prince on his northern campaign. He was shocked. How did you know? I just knew. Xiao Hongyu frequently meeting noblewomen was to test which family was colluding with the enemy. The undercurrents of the previous dynasty surged relentlessly, and with just a little attention, I knew he had volunteered to lead the campaign. This matter is not up to your whims. Stay put and behave. Father snapped before swiftly departing. His attitude made it clear there was no room for negotiation. With a hardened heart, I resolved to seek an audience with the Emperor directly. He spoiled me since childhood. Whenever I cried, threw tantrums, or acted coquettish, he would cover his ears and give in. When I returned to the palace in high spirits, Xiao Hongyu had just put down his medicine bowl, gazing at me with resentful eyes. "Husband, I'm back." That night, he made me call him husband over and over again, and I truly did sleep with him. The next day, he miraculously recovered from his illness. Supporting my aching waist, I couldn't help but scold him as he reviewed the memorials. "Xiao Hongyu, how come you're completely fine?" I was utterly miserable. While he looked refreshed and energetic, he pulled me onto his lap, kissed me lightly on the lips, and said, "After all, it was Yang Yang who bore the hardship." I choked, blaming myself for showing off. Nestled in his arms, I asked, "Xiao Hongyu, when are you going on the expedition?" He glanced at the intelligence report and said, "In 3 days, Father has agreed to let me go with you." He frowned and looked down at me. "No." I raised my head and kissed his chin, and his expression immediately brightened. "Husband, I don't want to be apart from you." I deliberately called out to him in a sweet, pleading tone, and it worked. He nuzzled the top of my head. "Yang Yang, you always know how to sway me, but this journey is fraught with danger from all sides, and I don't want you to take such risks." I reached out and touched his face. "But you know full well that I've always dreamed of charging into battle since childhood. I never cared for following rules. I preferred wielding spears and staffs. I studied martial arts under a renowned general with Gu Yen, dreaming of one day stepping onto the battlefield to see how this golden age came to be." Xiao Hongyu sighed and pinched my nose. I knew he would agree. I stood up in joy, hugging his head and planting a fierce kiss. I like you the most." He was slightly timid, grabbing my hand. "Yang Yang, what did you say?" I cupped his face, enunciating each word clearly. "Xiao Hongyu, Cui Yang loves you." The Eastern Palace was filled with jubilation, the Crown Prince basking in happiness, bestowing rewards continuously. The previous dynasty was full of twists and turns, but I only cared about eating, drinking, and having fun. "Crown Princess, are you really going to follow the Crown Prince to war?" Zealand was extremely worried, and I had to comfort her. "I must go. Don't you trust my abilities?" Zealand was still concerned and prepared many folk remedies for me, which I let her pack without objection. Xiao Hongyu entered with a furrowed brow, and Zealand withdrew. "What's wrong?" I had already grown accustomed to sitting on his lap. He held me close, his tone sullen. "Your father suggested bringing the children of the 2 families suspected of treason into the palace as hostages. Yang Yang, I don't want anyone else in the Eastern Palace besides you." From the sound of it, this meant he was to take them into his household. "It's a solution, but I'm not happy about it either. Wait for me." I kissed him and went out to meet someone. I merely provoked Zhao Qian with a few words, and sure enough, she flew into a rage and teamed up with another pair of siblings to insult me. I coldly punished them all by making them copy Buddhist scriptures, forbidding them to return home until they finished. They wouldn't finish copying before we returned. For every scroll completed, I had someone burn it. The court officials once again impeached the Crown Princess for being domineering and overbearing, yet no one paid it any heed. At night, Xiao Hongyu held me in his arms, exerting himself with unusual vigor. "Yang Yang, I'm so happy to see you doing so much for me. Yang Yang, I've tarnished your reputation. I'm sorry. Yang Yang, my Yang Yang." He lowered his head, gazing affectionately. But I took the initiative and pinned him beneath me. "Just fame. Go for it. A night of folly. Son, if anything happens, run first. Staying alive is what matters most." Mother wiped the corner of her eye as she reminded me. I nodded in agreement, while Father awkwardly turned away. "If you die out there, don't say you're a Cui. Wish me some luck, Dad." Xiao Hongyu urged his horse forward. "Father-in-law, mother-in-law, don't worry. I'll be the safety net for Yang Yang." 3 faces fell silent. "Who dares to let the
in the room?" And he spoke softly to persuade me. I scoffed coldly. "Gu Yen, with my husband's fate unknown, I will not flee from the battlefield." At the mention of the word husband, his eyes filled with hurt as he looked at me. I walked past him and out the door, unable to resist saying at the threshold, "Young General Gu still doesn't understand what it means to be inseparable companions." "Cui Yang," he shouted furiously behind me as I led Xiao Qi toward old General Gu. Your Highness, the Crown Princess, old General Gu greeted me with a simple cupped hand salute. I took in his resolute face and sharp, spirited eyes, and instantly understood his idea. He turned his head away, silent. I knew damn well Xiao Hongyu would risk his life. I leaned forward slightly. I implore you to deploy the troops and launch the attack immediately, old General Gu stammered. But, His Highness hasn't given the signal yet. Would you stand by and watch barbarian cavalry trample upon the face of our dynasty's crown prince? Seeing him unmoved, I steeled my heart and knelt down. Uncle Gu, a general in the field is not bound by his sovereign's orders. Younger implores you to quickly rescue my husband. He hurriedly helped me up. Younger, what are you doing? He closed his eyes and spat out angrily. What retreat to advance? Damn that nonsense. I've long had enough of those barbarian rebels. He flung the door open and called out firmly to Gu Yen, my son, follow your father to vanquish the savages. Beacon fires rose. War drums thundered. The two generals of the Gu family flanked me, while the long-restrained soldiers stood ready for action. Fight to the end. At the command, the battle flags fluttered loudly as the entire army advanced. Our forces swept forward with unstoppable momentum, reclaiming two cities that had previously been captured by the enemy. As they approached within 3 miles of the last remaining city, Gu Yen rode forward on his horse and asked, Yang Yang, are you afraid he might already be dead? I gazed toward the city and chuckled lightly. Only the strong are worthy of sharing a lifetime with me. Xiao Hongyu, you're the crown prince who can do anything. If you really die, then consider yourself unlucky. General Gu ordered the troops to set up camp and rest, planning to attack the city at dawn. Though confident in my plans, at this final moment, I still felt a trace of unease. Xiao Hongyu, you must live. Clutching his jade pendant, I fell into a deep slumber. My dreams filled with scenes of our innocent childhood together. Yang Yang, will you marry me when we grow up? The young crown prince called after me as I walked ahead. My hands continued polishing my spear without pause. I'm going to be a great general, not some palace concubine. I'll do as you say, Yang Yang, but you're not allowed to be nice to anyone except me. Yang Yang, that Gu boy is just a bit rough around the edges. Nothing special. Yang Yang, don't like him. I can learn anything. I can also go to battle and fight. In the end, it was his dejected expression as he said, Cui Yang, as long as you're happy, all night long. Xiao Hongyu's figure lingered in my mind, and when I woke, my eyes were moist. Xiao Hongyu, I miss you. During the siege, my hand gripping the spear fought until it went numb. Gu Yen stayed by my side, always worried I'd get hurt. I kicked him in the waist. Don't distract yourself with me. Blades and arrows are blind. I don't need him to divide his attention. Warm blood sprayed on my face and instantly congealed. I could no longer tell how many I had killed or how many soldiers had fallen beneath their horses. I don't know how long the battle lasted before the city gates opened from within. Yang Yang, Xiao Hongyu, clad in blood-stained black armor, called out to me from atop his towering warhorse, a halberd in hand. In that instant, he was all I could see. His voice the only sound in my ears. As I stood dazed, he galloped toward me, leaped onto my horse, and pressed close. Yang Yang, I've missed you so much. He pulled me into his embrace, and amidst the clamor, I cursed loudly, damn crown prince. The enemies aren't all dead yet, you. I hadn't even finished speaking when he coldly wiped out the enemy, and the already struggling opposing forces were soon completely annihilated. Yang Yang, can I hug you now? He buried his face in the crook of my neck, his tone coquettish. The corner of my mouth twitched. Humph. Gu Yen shot us a glare before heading into the city. Xiao Hongyu raised his head to glance at Gu Yan's retreating figure, smiling disdainfully. I've won again, Yang Yang. Returning to the garrison city, after washing up and heading back to my quarters, I kicked Xiao Hongyu. I asked coldly, why did you leave Xiao Qi behind? Didn't he know there was a moment when I was genuinely worried about him? He held my chafed feet and gently applied the ointment. Only when he's by your side can I feel at ease. Hearing this, I angrily bit his lip in frustration. He winced in pain and looked at me with a resentful gaze. Xiao Hongyu. But it's only when you're by my side that I feel at ease. If you abandon me again, don't even think about seeing me anymore. He pulled me into his embrace and gently promised, this is the last time. From now on, we'll never be apart. I smirked mischievously. You said it. He smiled adoringly. I did, yet the very next night, when I wanted to bathe with him, he resisted fiercely. I gripped the door panel and demanded, "Didn't we promise never to part?" He pressed against the door and declared righteously, "That's not what this is about." I rolled up my sleeves and shouted, "You treacherous prince, going back on your word." He fled, I chased, he had no escape. Finally, he compromised, in the vast bathtub. I saw the horrifying, bloody wound on his back and couldn't help but sneer, "Don't come back to my room." He brought his delectably handsome face close to mine, took my hand, and placed it on his enticingly sculpted chest muscles. Deliberately lowering his voice, "Yang Yang, don't say such heartbreaking words, all of this belongs to you." Hiss, seduction by male charm. I surrendered without a fight. When moved, he asked me why I fell for him. Was it love at first sight? A fool. It was love that grew over time, deep and unwavering. The end.